they make more money usually, because men tend to make more money, and because they have a higher chance of living with a partner. That makes a lot of sense to me. But what they're saying is like, see, men are better. When the reality is like it's more complicated than just men are better. At the end of the day, you should have a 2-parent household. But of course, she can't really push back on that because she doesn't know that. She doesn't know that. I didn't either. And so you get caught off guard, and now it's like, oh, so you look stupid.
A lot more than just make money.
No,
second thing, let me finish. She gonna try to. I'll take my 30 seconds, but I'll do you a favor. You only get 30 seconds in return. Go ahead.
Okay. So we can just have the dialogue back and forth because you can finish what you're going to say. Because it's not just about men being in a household; it's humans as general, men or women.
Sure.
Better each other. What I said when it comes to men having the one job to provide. Yes, that is your one job. I'm sorry. You can try to, you know, like.
Oh, she's hurting herself.
It's not degrading at all.
It is degrading. Yeah, he's right. It is degrading. To say that there's like an expectation to men to provide more in society, for sure. To say that you want a man like that, for sure. But to say that that's like their one job kind of a thing, I don't know how you could wrestle from that. Men are more than just like money. You know, that is degrading. It boils men down to just like a wallet, basically. In the same way that men would boil women down to just a kitchen. It's like, oh well, your job is to just cook for me. You know what I mean? It is a bit degrading. Men provide more than just money. Men need to be there, to teach their kids. I mean, like, listen, a man needs to teach his daughter how, like, men should treat her, and a woman needs to teach her son how women should teach him. You teach his strength, etc. All these different things that a man needs to provide in the household. There's just a good example. They're more than just money. I understand that men tend to make more money, and I understand that you want that. But it's a little degrading.
I still love my black men. Of course,
but you're saying we don't stand for anything except
no, I'm not saying. I never said that you never stood for it. But in the Bible it says provide and protect. That's biblical. That means provide. So what I'm saying, when I base it like provide, that's biblical.
The Bible. Really?
We can if we want to, but what I'm saying is it's not.
She's losing me, dude. She's losing me, bro.
I think a lot of men get offended when I say a man's job is to provide because they're underachievers. If it's a man that's actually somebody that's actually...
I'm offended and I'm not an underachiever.
Okay, but any man that's actually a complete provider and established in who he is, if you say a man's job is to provide, he's not going to be offended by it.
Well, that's not what you're saying. It seems like you're saying that's your only job, unless I heard that wrong. No, I'm offended too. I make good money. Like, I make over $100,000 a year. It's just like annoying. I do find it to be almost condescending. Yeah, I think it is a job. I mean, listen, this is a relationship dynamic, and for my dynamic, like I enjoy that I make more money than my wife, and it's something that is important to me as a man. My wife's a trooper, though. She'd be with me regardless of how much money I made, as long as I was like operating, doing like the best I could to provide. Obviously, I was able to make good money partially because of my wife. She's a support system, and she's like very like emotionally supportive to me and helped me like push through my content. Yeah, it does come off as a little demeaning from her.
I'm offended by it.
Do you want to be married?
Absolutely.
Have you ever been married?
Yeah, I do. In the near future, just not at the moment.
Do you want in your future?
No more.
Interesting.
By what age would you like to be married again? Or for the first time, I'm sorry.
I think when I turn 35, I think I'll be okay with being married.
You want to be 35?
35, but she said in the near future, so she's probably at least 30.
When you get married, do you believe you were more marketable when you were 25?
No.
Maybe with
Probably. That's how like everybody works. I think in general people tend to be more marketable when they're younger. Like I understand men tend to go for younger women, men tend to go for older men, but like it's still I'd put you in the same category maybe like 5 years ago, right? So maybe. So I'd say like maybe a 25-year-old woman's in like a similar space where like a 30-year-old man is kind of a deal, because men like younger girls, not that much younger. Some like do. I know the OkCupid statistic test where they're like, oh man, like 18-year-old girls. They put that in their preferences, but most of them actually just dated in their area, within their age range still. But yeah, like as you get older, things change. you have it's different when you date. When you're younger, you know, you're kind of developing and you have the ability to grow with a person and you can develop like a strong relationship. As you get older, you know more what you want, but like people are kind of like you know, coming out of the dating pool, so you have like scraps left, you know what I mean? I say in general it gets more difficult. You still have things to offer. You still have levels of maturity. You still have different things to offer. I don't know if I would sit down and I don't think it's necessary to sit down and have a conversation about being less valuable to the market. I think that it's kind of silly. You're obviously going to have a different value, though. It's going to be, you're going to have different struggles finding somebody. So,
no. So you're better than what you were when you were 25?
Are you better than you were when you were 25?
No, he's asking you.
I definitely am. But as human beings, it's natural for us to evolve. So, are you a better person than you are now?
Time and experience is not something that works against me.
It doesn't work.
I don't think that experience works against women either. Okay.
Women either.
Hold on, wait. It does, because you're on the clock, sweetheart.
It is not.
Men and women are both on a clock.
I can have a baby.
Like here's the thing is like both men and women are on the clock and different, like, yeah, in general. If you're a dude that makes a ton of fucking money, like, you could be 80 years old, it doesn't matter. But like that's one of the problems I think I have with manosphere, is that they make this assumption that like all men have the ability to be like 35, 40-year-old bachelors that can pull fucking 18 to 25-year-old girls. But realistically speaking, like, you're probably going to be a dude that doesn't really fall into the category of being able to like fucking pull young pussy. So, like, if you're the fucking top 1% man, for sure, time doesn't work against you. But if you're any other guy, it does work against you, obviously. So
I'm not gonna have this ignorant red. This is a red pill talk that was given by low vibration men. It's low vibration.
Baby at 55, it's just facts.
Yes, you can. Yes, it is. A woman can have a baby at 55. It's happened. It's on the news.
You're not high risk. You're not high risk.
But
yeah, you're higher risk. So I think this is true. The older a woman is, the higher chance they are to have a baby that has like physical or intellectual or developmental disabilities. I don't know if a man's age has a negative impact.
Another map. Great.
I don't know if that has a... Children of older fathers are more at risk for disabilities. Oh, maybe they do. Research has shown that children who are fathered by older men are at risk of disabilities, although getting children at a later age can have some advantages like financial security and maturity. There are some health concerns. Most women are aware that some risks are involved with giving birth and later in life, but most men are not aware that fathering kids in old age has some health risks to kids. Oh, so I don't know to what degree, but both men and women will have a higher... Babies born to fathers over 40 had a 14% chance of being born prematurely with a low birth weight. These babies also would be likely to require NICU services. Their mothers had a 28% risk of getting gestational diabetes. The studies analyzed. Okay, so what's that compared to a person under? It seems like so for men and women, there's an increased chance of like some kind of a disability. Part of that could be attributed to medications as your body breaks down, and you need to start like basically supplementing your health with different medications, whether it is diabetes just from getting older, or a bad diet, or blood pressure medication. It could also just be overall age, making your swimmers a little sussy. And even outside of that, there are social factors that have a negative impact. If you have kids at an older age, it makes it more difficult for you to have the energy to take care of them. It can, there's a lot that goes on there. Yeah. Okay. Poo-poo God, I love all your content, and yours is a huge part of me growing as a person and helping me process the trauma and grow into soon-to-be paramedic who gives a fuck about life. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome, man. I really am happy. Thank you for those kind words. I'm happy that you're doing well in life. Okay, let's go.
That's if the goal is to have a baby. I don't want to have a baby at 55.
That's true. She said she doesn't want to have any more kids, which could potentially, I think, make it a little more difficult because men do like having kids.
Yep.
All right, let's keep going.
So you were saying Thor is half God and half giant? That's so weird.
You're going to be 35 when you get married. Do you believe you will...
The next question I'd ask is, like, how old is the guy you're looking for? Because you're probably going to struggle. I mean, you'll probably date between like 35 and like 45 is going to be for her.
More marketable when you were 25 and maybe without a no. So you're better than what you were when you were 25.
This is better.
You were when you were 25.
No, he's actually
The older you get, acting like you're not less valuable the older you get because you age the same way. I'm not going to have this ignorant red. This is a red pill talk that was given by low vibration men. It is
low vibration man. That's a little funny.
It's low vibration.
Baby at 55 and 65.
Yes, you can. Yes, it is. A woman can have a baby at 55 and 7. That's one to do.
You're not high risk. You're not high risk.
But that's if the goal is to have a baby. I don't want to have a baby at 55. I don't even want to have any more children.
I'm just trying to prove a point.
But no, you're not.
That's the problem. It seems like he's trying to prove a point at like any cost, right? Like this is one of those problems. You meet debaters that do these fucking lefties do this shit all the time. They come in to have a specific argument, and if you deviate outside of that argument or you invert their expectations a little bit, they still have to stay on script because they don't have a talking point outside the script. So they just keep saying, "Yeah, I don't really want to have kids." Yeah, but you know, being older makes it hard to have kids. Yeah, I don't want kids. Yeah, but I'm just trying to prove a point. It's like, yeah, but that point is relevant here in this situation, you know?
Because okay, because it's like I don't like that. I really don't like when men try to say women are less valued the older they get, acting like you're not less valuable the older you get because you age the same way that we do. And I feel like Kevin Samuels has a really.
I feel like women age a little worse, bro. You know what I learned talking to my mother one time? Your bladders just move. They just fall. Your women's bladders just fall. Then you got to get like a surgery, and then you got to put your bladder back up. That's fucking insane. What's going on, brother? You knew? How you doing? I didn't know that. Fucking crazy.
Really fucked up the manosphere because he made y'all think that your value is more than what the fuck it is. It's not. You're a man, you age just like we age, and just because your mind thinks that you have less miles on you, listen, no, because that's where you get it from. All this red pill talk is like really infuriating because you try to downplay women just because of their age, not meaning that I'm pretty sure you're older than me.
I understand why she's getting frustrated, but I will say that it probably doesn't really help her look in this case by expressing that frustration. You know what I mean?
How old are you?
41.
Right. So your market value is already low. You're 9 years away from half a century. So I don't know what the male ego is that feeds into it to make you think that a woman, being an older woman, she loses her market value based on what? You can date a 21-year-old, you can date a 25-year-old if that's what fucking settles your boat. But if your money is not there to support that one, unless you get a stupid one, she's not going to want to deal with you. So
it's true. She's right. I was saying basically the same thing before. Like older guys, unless you have a ton of money, you're not going to be able to pull like young girls.
You end up being an old-ass sugar daddy trying to date somebody that's in their 20s and 30s, and who wants that type of life? So it's like
I hit a trigger.
No, it's not. I'm not triggered at all. To me, it's just like
she's pretty upset. Yeah, I don't think that she had to be.
What matters to me is because but
let me ask you this:
because with me,
if he's saying this, that's his perspective. Then you've been saying perspective.
And it's fine. He can have his perspective, but you don't tell me that my market value was.
He's not said that.
Well, he did say that. See, this is the thing. Like, she's having an individual perspective in her own right. Where it's like, it's very her focused. Like, this. They're making like general prescriptions about women being less valuable as they get older. There's a difference in like the perspective of her being, and she's built like what she talks about her individual perspective. It's in a way to build herself up, whereas their general perspectives of women are to break those women down, right? You understand that she's like, yeah, I think I'm an above average woman. I want to date guys that have 80K plus. Like these are my standards. While they're saying like, yeah, but women lose value as they get older, and then they can't cope with the fact that that's what they believe, and they're like, no, I didn't say all women. It's just my perspective. It's like, okay, but what's the outcome of this perspective? You're making general prescriptions of all women. She's specifically talking about herself as a woman with boundaries.
You're saying that women, as they
get older, they have a lesser window of having a baby.
And that's fine, but there's a lot of men out here that don't want babies.
And again, like it's apparently the same with men. Men have a higher outcome of having
rumors of a powerful dwarf
more disabled babies when they get older as well. You know what I mean?
It doesn't have to be you.
But that's not what he's saying. He's saying you're getting more at risk the older you get.
But again, she's already said she doesn't want to have fucking kids, so this argument's irrelevant to this.
No, but he's basing a woman's value on her. And that's not right.
But you do agree that it is a biological clock, though, right?
It's not a biological clock. I'm sorry.
So there's no such thing as that.
Well, I think that what she was trying to say was like you're valuing women purely on how much they can have a baby or not. It's an important factor for sure, though. Like if you can or can't have a baby, like the success rate of a baby is a very important factor. But like I think what her point is that there's more than just that. To a woman, there's more that a woman can provide, especially in her individual case. She doesn't even want to have kids, so she has more to provide than that.
They try to say a woman after a certain age is high risk. That's fine, but women can have babies at all stages. And if you
that's true, but it's rare.
Okay, then that's.
It's not rare. Like now we're just using words. Now we're just saying that it's rare. Women can't really have babies. No, women can have babies. As they get older, it doesn't make it more difficult, absolutely, but it's not rare for like a 40-year-old to have a baby. With our fucking modern medicine, I would say the success rate of a 40-year-old being able to have a baby is pretty high. They might have a higher chance of being the kid coming out with some kind of disability. But either way, we have fucking miracles of modern medicine. It's not rare. That word is not being used correctly. It is more difficult. Right?
Doesn't matter.
But it's not rare. It's not like 1 in a million, you know? It's like pretty solid.
Cool, but you cannot base a woman's value based on if she can have children or not. That's not fair because there's women that's born that can't even have children.
That's true.
So it's like, so you mean to tell me that they're less value when they're 25 because
he's
not being able to have children?
He's not saying she's not less value. She's less at all. She's probably less to be married or at a higher risk.
But the thing is, y'all tend to, and it's
I don't even understand what he's saying.
Messed up with the male ego because your ego blinds you to so much stuff.
But hold on.
It does.
So let me ask you this. So what's the difference between you saying we got one job and we telling you that the older you get, it lessens y'all?
He has a little bit of a point there. You got to give it to him. He does have a little bit of a point there. You guys are. He kind of has. He kind of has her on that point. You know what I mean? If you're gonna boil men down to like that one, what you maybe consider biological imperative of providing, man, they're gonna boil women down to the one biological imperative of having babies. So you kind of met them. You're kind of meeting them at the same sexist ideology there a little bit.
You're doing the same thing.
See, I'm going to be 26 March. I thought my mom was old when she had me at 30. I'm scared I'll never be able to have kids. That's too much to do, and I want to punch my fuck. I feel that. I want to have kids soon. My mother had me, I think, at 30 or 32. A little older. But hey, I just came out with fucking OCD and the tics and ADHD, so, probably the flu won't be more.
Because a job is something that can come and go.
So what did you that's more degrading. Listen. Job can come and go.
One second. I'm not going to allow you guys to.
Okay, go ahead.
So what I'm saying is this. When it comes to value, when it comes to men, you're not making what you should be making as a provider or protector. That's something that's completely in your control. A woman being...
Well, not necessarily, bro. Like, there's only so many jobs, and we have the age of technology that are displacing jobs, driving down wages. And there's certainly a motivation factor, but it's not exactly the easiest thing in the world to just get a better job and have it in your control. You know what I mean? It's fun to have a standard, but now she's bordering on territory of demeaning men that don't make a certain amount of money. Before, she's just like, I have a standard of, there it goes, $80,000 plus. I was like, I respect that. That's fine. Now she's like, yeah, but it's in your control. It's like, it can be, but it's not necessarily the easy thing in the world to just make more money. This is starting to fall into like the whole thing of like this is like a man's issue. Is like men can struggle. Like men do have the societal standard of making more money. They tend to be they hold a higher value in that society. You're looked down upon if you don't. And now she's like, yeah, it's your fault. And it sounds like, okay, now we're getting into the border of like this is a legitimate like male issue. Women, it overlaps into women as well, of course, because women are working more now, especially in like the Western world. But this comes into territory of like, okay, now we're on a man's issue, and like she's been saying some shit that's a little sexist too. You know what I mean?
A risk or something, or whatever y'all call it is, that's something that's out of her control. So I'm not going to say one man is a man's one job is like, oh, I should give you sympathy, because that's something that you have full control over. The women and their biological, yes, they do.
A lot of it.
So let me ask you,
that's that golden
one thing that I've heard, and listen, I'm gonna for real, listen. I've heard you sit here and I've heard you talk and say what you want from men, but I've never heard you say love. All I've heard was provide, protect. I've never heard you say love. So I can provide and protect for you, and not give a fuck about you.
No, I've never said I didn't.
But you never said love,
because
though.
Love is
because
automatic.
so if love is automatic, if I make fucking $10,000 a year, you should still love me.
No, I'm not gonna do that shit because I'm not gonna put my position to be it myself.
Well, I mean, that's different. Like, she's allowed to have her standard of I want love, and that's her own money. That's fine.
I'm in a position to date a man that's not financially stable, that's stupid. And that's the reason why a lot
You're
of
his partner.
No, we're not gonna do that. Only black men look for women to build them. Why can't you build yourself?
What the fuck? What's up with Wait, why are we casually shitting on black men now, bro? What the fuck's happening? When she said love is automatic, I think that what she tried to say is that, like, for her, love is like a given. Like, that's obviously a factor, but also they need to have this certain amount of money. Well, wait, what's going on with this, with the fucking black man shit? My wife has built me up a lot. It depends on the phase of your life, more than anything else.
No, we're not gonna do that. Only black men look for women to build them. Why can't you build yourself up?
If you're that...
What? I feel like it's a phase thing. Like, if you're 20 years old, you should be looking for a partner that can help, that you can grow with, that you can build each other up. If you're 35, I can understand you saying, like, I'm not looking to build with somebody. I'm looking for an established person. That makes sense to me, right? Because you're an adult. You're kind of beyond those years. You've accomplished what you've accomplished. You're not in your development phase anymore. You're kind of in, like, your establishment phase. You know what I mean? But, like, why black men? Why black guys? What's going on with black guys? Only black men look for people to help build. My wife helped me build. That's an extreme part of our relationship. That's the reason I fell in love with her. One of them is because she's helped me build my career itself. Now she just wants to get adopted by a rich white guy. Like, what the fuck's happening here? She's losing me, dude. Oh my goodness, she's fucking losing me. No, what are you doing?
That special quarter and you're
not a baby. I built my son.
Hey, hold on, what do you say? Hold on, you're not a baby.
Fucking black guys.
If a dude is broke, but he loves the fuck out of you, he worships around you standing, and he's working to build something, but when he met you, he was broke. Would you fuck with him?
At 30.
Because I'm gonna let you. No, not at 30. Not at 30. Just say.
So here's what I'd say is, like, listen, like, how do they love the fuck out of you if you didn't give them the time of day? You know what I mean? Her thing is that she won't give that person the time to fall in love with her if they don't make over a certain amount of money. I think that's totally fine. But again, it's more because she's like 30-something years old and she's beyond that point where she wants to build. That's fine to be out of that phase. I just still off-put by the whole black man thing. Why the fuck did she need to be like, only black men want to find somebody to build with? What are you talking about? Everybody should be trying to find that support system, especially if you're a primary financial provider. I would say that's even higher responsibility on a woman to help you succeed, or a man if the woman's the woman that's a primary financial provider, right? Because, like, if you're the one that's making most of the money, that other person should be there to build you up and help, alleviate stress. Whether it's a man or a woman making money, the other partner should be there to help you even additionally. Yeah, she blew her 3-1 lead.
Listen, no, it's a difference between let me talk. It's a difference between an 18-year-old woman being a man that's not established in the building and a 30-year-old
Okay, yeah, I agree with this.
Because that means the man that I need is at least 33 years old. So if you're not established at 33, what have you been doing with your whole years?
Okay, that's fair. See, that's a fair take. I still don't get the whole black guy thing, but that's a fair take.
So you mean to tell me
you do realize you have a hard time.
Yeah, that's cool. But you should have some establishment made. Because if you are 34, 35 or anything right now and you're still on hard time, that means that you messed around in your earlier years of your life.
It may mean there's more than you just messed around. You may have, like, it just might have been hard for you to find a decent job. But again, you're allowed to have your standard. So I tend to agree with what she's saying here.
So if I decide to get with you, what's the chance of you messing around in the years that I'm spending with you? The same, because you've already proved by history that you don't have the ability to create something that is structural.
What did you say? Women make everything better and great. So
they do.
No. So if that's the case, maybe you need him to make him great.
No. I don't need a man that needs me to make me great. He should already feel great with it. So
let me ask you. So let me ask you. So look at this. I'm great. I don't need you. If I'm great, what I need you for?
Cool. You're not.
But I think that you would just not need her for building her career, right? It would be like, oh, we're both established. It's more of like the emotional part and the next part.
For me.
No, I'm just saying in general. If I'm great, what do I need you for?
You don't. The next person will. And that's the whole problem. Like, people
Okay.
tend to think that you have to hold on to everybody you come across. Everybody ain't for you. You don't have to like me. And me, I'm not somebody that's pressed or hard enough to just be like, oh, no, baby, if you have a problem with my standards, then you're just not for me. I'm okay with that.
I think people can overlook something great.
No, I don't. Anything that's
Maybe, but not everything is a Cinderella story, yeah.
meant to be for you is going to be meant for you regardless.
Listen, if I was like 35 or 40 and I was dating, I'm going to have different standards than if I was like 25 dating. You know what I mean? I'm going to have like a profoundly different standard, you know, because I will have already been established at that point. I'm not really looking for somebody to help build me up. I'm just looking for somebody. I'll have different standards in different phases of my life.
Kind of like
If a dude is broke.
Okay.
right. So I want to say two things. First off, I do not like referring to
What is this again?
as female because I feel
What the fuck are y'all?
because I
I don't know if I want to watch this whole thing here. It's 10 minutes.
feel like a female can be used to describe anything. Female, you have female cats, female dogs, female.
Girl cats too. I'm not going to watch this 10-minute clip here. We've got like a good gist of it. When it comes to women not wanting to be called females, the only reason is because there are some men that'll put like disrespect on it. That's pretty much it. And so like now women are like, don't call me a female. I know you're being disrespectful. Call me like a woman or a girl. Put some respect on my name, kind of a thing. Like fundamentally, calling a woman a female isn't bad, but it's like some people will say it disrespectful. Mostly manosphere men, so that's why. Okay, we can move on from that. I think we did plenty. I think we did plenty for that. You already drained your balls, drained it. You didn't like that segment. I looked out. I was a man-ho from 16 to 30 and married my high school sweetheart, so I don't know. I'm invested in her argument. How the fuck did you do that if you're a man-ho?
Still have faith in your king, even after you got so many of them killed.
It is a command to have faith despite his failures.
I guess woman instead of that, yeah. Alright, Socrates. 50 Cent bullied a grown man. Terry Crews exposed him. Life stories by Goldcast. Bro, this looked cool. I saw a little bit of this clip on TikTok, so I figured let's watch the whole thing. I like Terry Crews. He played Chris Rock's dad.
Terry Crews is one of the most jacked guys in the world. So
That's true.
50 Cent calling him out for not being a real man.
50
I think 50 Cent's upset that he had to do that movie and lose all that weight, and then the movie flopped.
Cent mocked Terry for not fighting back after being attacked.
He froze like he was afraid.
Terry's
What?
a 6'3", 240-pound gym rat, so why didn't he defend himself?
How could this have happened to you?
We discovered
What are they talking about? When was he assaulted?
that Terry's wife and kids left him after his 10-year secret was exposed. Everything wrong. Now Terry's hitting back at 50 Cent for exposing him.
We're talking about man and his family is never there with him. He's always by himself.
But is 50 Cent right
Oh shit, this is an intense fight between the two.
about Terry?
My earliest memory was my father knocking on the door.
Oh, I remember hearing him talk about this, and I think he like knocked his phone around.
The example of manliness that I have to look up to is towering over her and all of us. I'm 4 years old and I can't do anything. I would wake up screaming, wake up to glass breaking, shouting, and I just wanted peace, man.
Terry swore he'd never end up like his dad, but as he got older and stronger, he used his physical strength to dominate the people around him.
I truly believe I was worth more than my wife and kids. I was ice cold. I was the man. I run this. You better do as I say. Former NFL linebacker, 6'3", 240 pounds, just muscles that.
Was he in? I didn't know he was in the NFL. I thought he was just an actor. He's a good actor too. I like him.
Everywhere.
I have seen my husband put people on the floor because people want to test the big guy.
But one night when he was attacked,
That's true. People always want to test the big guys. I had that experience too, especially in real life.
Terry shocked the world with his reaction.
In 2016, while at a party with my wife, I was sexually assaulted by a successful Hollywood agent. He looked me in my eyes and
Was this what 50 was talking about? He made fun of him for being sexually assaulted by a fucking Hollywood agent. Like, can you not understand that? Like, if this guy's trying to become an actor, this puts him in like a really uncomfortable place. What the fuck?
sticking his tongue out, overtly sexually, he takes his right hand and grabs my genitals. And just when I'm like, hey, what are you doing? The way he looked at me,
supposed to do? Like, is he supposed to start, like, flailing on the guy? I mean, I would be in shock if some, like, fucking, whatever, like, successful, whatever douchebag did that. I'd be like, what the fuck? Especially if I was trying to be an actor, or I was an actor, and they have, like, a level of, like, you know, potentially over me. I'd be like, what the fuck? Remember what happened to Brendan Fraser? He got, like, I think he refused to be assaulted by somebody, or refused to do like that, and they like ruined his career. I don't know the specifics. I should look into it more.
He didn't defend himself. Terry Crews is like the Hulk. This guy's huge. I just couldn't get how he froze like he was afraid. God gave you muscles so you can say no. Ain't nobody just gonna grab my nuts without getting punched.
Why are there so many people like questioning why he didn't hit the guy? What the fuck? What is happening here? Like, if he did hit the guy, go for it. I think they have every right. But why are people like, oh, why are they blaming him? That's insane to me. Like, it's one thing to be like, yeah, I would hit back. Why are you blaming this guy for not starting to throw punches?
6 years before his assault, Terry's family left him. His wife discovered his had been hiding for 10 years.
My wife, over the years, she was always suspicious.
I started to hammer him with questions, and all of a sudden he starts coming out of his skin with his confessions. 10 years ago I did this, 13 years ago I did this.
How many things happened? What the fuck?
I heard this gasp, and she said, I was like, fine, leave. And she's like,
what the fuck?
There it is.
What the fuck?
I had multiple times.
You never. Oh, well, that makes sense. Sorry, it's not funny, but that makes sense to me. I thought it was like you were sexually assaulted. I'm leaving it. This motherfucker was to a fucking massage parlor. He got a hand job. I can see why she got pissed. Okay, it's a little different.
Terry thought he could get away with whatever he wanted because he was too tight.
I was very successful. You're talking rich, famous, popular, and I'm like, what she has to complain about? You know, it's good life.
Yeah, I value values. Okay, yeah, obviously he's wrong for that.
For a man,
true.
And then use that as an excuse.
And you're successful, you feel like that pass. But then small boys came to me and said, maybe to me, what I presented to my wife was an image. I was lying the whole time. She wasn't married to the real Terry Crews. She was married to the picture. You saw.
Well, at least he's acknowledging it. He's acknowledging his fuck up here. I can respect that.
He acknowledged that he had changed some things here. I did not go to rehab to get my wife back. I went there.
What are we going to rehab for? I'm missing so many things. Is he on drugs too? What the fuck? We're all over the place here. We're all over the place.
Because I needed to be a better person.
He put the money where his mouth was, and he went to see a counselor.
Eventually, Rebecca did choose to come back.
Well, that's good. So I guess he got some kind of sex counseling. All right, good for him. Good for her too for forgiving him. That's the thing. If you're gonna cheat on your partner, which you should never do. But if you're gonna give in to temptation, you're gonna cheat, and that partner decides to take you back. You have to understand that like you're gonna lose a part of the freedom you had before. This is reality, and you deserve it, right?
The Dwarf King made his subjects hunt dragons and other monsters.
You have to make a big concession. So apparently, he went and got help for whatever was going on, and yeah.
I had to earn it. Me and my wife rebuilt our marriage.
He had a porn addiction? Is that what it was? Oh, shit.
Literally from the ground up. I know how close I came to losing it all.
But when he was assaulted, he had to choose whether to react with violence like he used to or show
Why is this white girl here? It's a real question, but
that he really changed.
The first reaction was to be violent. And I immediately held back.
You're a big, powerful man. Why didn't you?
As a black man in America,
True.
You only have a few chances to make yourself a viable member of the community.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I mean, I get that. Like, if he, like, so this fucking white guy, like, touched it, well, I guess assaulted him. And then if he had a violent reaction, on top of the fact he's like, nobody will believe you, or I guess he just implied it through his looks. Now, if you fight back, you're the angry black man. You're the trope. You're a stereotype now. So maybe that's one of the reasons why he didn't immediately, like, fire back, right?
I have seen many, many young black men who were provoked into violence, and they were in prison, or they were killed.
Sometimes you're a product of your environment. Right. At one point, you have to say, wait a minute, I don't want to be that type of man.
Terry opened up about his experience, speaking at the U.S. Senate as an advocate for sexual assault survivors.
As I shared my story, I was told over and over that this was not abuse, that this was just horseplay. But I can say that one man's horseplay is another man's humiliation. What kind of of man would I be to tell my kids, if someone touches you where you don't want to be touched, tell someone, and then I don't do it.
50 Cent attacked Terry for not being a real man, but he wasn't being the man his family needed either.
50 Cent ranged from his eldest son for 10 years.
Damn.
Everything he promised, gonna take him to a basketball game, I'm gonna take him on vacation. He hasn't done any of that.
It's never been about the It's much of the relationship.
Terry should quit.
Damn, why should he throwing fucking rocks, bro? Look at that glass house. At least Terry just got shit together more than. I haven't seen anything that where Terry was a bad father. He might have been a bad husband. You know?
Good point.
Damn, 50 fucking validating this man's trauma. Isn't that fucked though? Right? This would be an instance of a man coming forward, and it's like it's weird, you know, for a man to come forward about sexual assault. It's a different experience for a woman sometimes. You know, I would say because like a man's not supposed to be sexually assaulted, they're supposed to fight back, right? That's the whole trope. That's the whole expectation. So this guy's like, hey, I'm standing up and I'm showing young men that you can come forward too. And why did you fight? You know, why did you fight back? It's like, damn, you know.
But it means to be a real man, and he even offered love to 50 Cent instead of fighting.
I love 50 Cent. I listen to his music while I'm working out.
By using his voice instead of violence, Terry showed what true strength can look like.
Strength is not about picking things up and throwing people around. The strength comes from standing up for the weak. It's admitting you have a problem. It's admitting that you need help. When you're a man, you think.
Are you telling me that the reason that 50 Cent isn't in his kid's life is because his kid is spoiled? Is that what you're telling me? You're telling me. What? Who cares if his son's spoiled? Who the fuck's what? I'm so confused. Yes, he hasn't been in the kid's life for 10 years. Why? What does that have to do with him being spoiled? What? He's the father. I don't understand what you're saying. So how are you blaming a child for the father being absent? Are you okay? Do you have a father? Are you okay? What's the relationship with your father like? For you to even suggest that.
Masculinity is the opposite of vulnerability. Because the pride, the manliness, the hypermasculinity is not real. True manhood. It's beautiful.
Okay. It was a good video. It was a little chaotic, but it was a good video, even if it was chaotic. It's humiliating. It's humiliating for women to come forward. It's more humiliating for a man. It's disgusting. Listen, I would stay away from that kind of language. Like it's more humiliating for a man. I think it's individual basis. There's different expectations. I think when it comes to getting sexually assaulted, I would just be careful of your wording for that. But I understand what you're saying. Very cool. Hey guys, what do you think about? What do you think of this?
A lot of people think I'm confident, but I'm actually just loud. Yeah. When it comes to believing in myself, I'm an atheist. Woo!
We made all these people hunt monsters. The people put them in cages, and then.
I heard Def Noodles booked her for his next comedy event. It's just fucking crazy. I don't know. I saw that on TikTok, bro. That shit was fucking weird as hell. I want to see the full thing because I wonder if she's making fun of somebody. So funny. Pop-up video. Just stop him crying. It's nice. Yes. Think it's cringe on purpose? Maybe. I wish I got to see the full thing. I looked into finding the whole thing. She was fucked up. Alright, let me see this.
Danny Tully super chatted $6.19. Hey, but I was wondering what you would do if you ever met your father. Love you.
I don't know. I don't know why you asked that. It's a little bit of an intrusive question, and I'm trying to think about it.
Let me guess. Something I can build with? How'd I know?
Yeah, you gotta put me on the spot. I'm really trying to think. I don't think that I would ever put myself in a position where I could meet my father again. Is the true answer to that? As a person, I can be a very angry person sometimes, and it's something that I've struggled with in the past in my life, to the point where I've actually, my mother brought me to a therapist when I was a young kid. I had like a lot of frustration and anger associated with my dad, and I've worked through it, and I've made significant progress as a person, despite being like disadvantaged in that sense. And I think we all have our internal moments of glory where we envision a scenario where we get to be justifiable. Where it's like you get to do the righteous thing. I'm gonna punch my dad. I'm gonna beat my dad up. I'm gonna beat him up. I think about it sometimes. It makes me very angry. This is a topic that makes me very angry. But like, realistically speaking,
he won Freya's trust, and she taught him some of her Vanir magic.
Well, I'm at a point now.
Sadly, despite his wise counselors' best efforts to persuade him that peace was the only true path to stave off Ragnarok, Odin never let go of his obsession with Jotunheim.
I'm fortunate to be where I am.
Pick this up later.
And I think that there's no reason to ever be in proximity of him again. Because to me, that feels like an opportunity for him to be able to build a relationship that he doesn't deserve. And if I hit the guy, I go to jail. And if I try to talk it out, I give him an opportunity to be in my life again. And it's just something that he doesn't deserve, you know? Life is hard when you're disadvantaged in some capacity. I'll tell you, and specifically when I was having that, it's very difficult to, when you don't have a parent, it can feel very difficult to be, you feel wanted in your life, you know? And like, realistically speaking, I've had a lot of strong men in my life, and my mother was a very, very strong woman. My mother had me. My father left my mother 5 months pregnant. She had me, she birthed me, and she never in her entire life dated ever again. And she devoted her entire life to two things, which is work and me. And so I'm significantly fortunate to have a mother like that. She was a very strong woman. She was a manager. She ran half of Long Island White Castle, so it does sound silly, but she was built to be a woman in a man's world. I had all my family actually stepped up, and I have a very strong family unit, which helped subsidize the lack of a father figure. My uncle Ed, specifically, rest in peace, he unfortunately passed away. He had a profoundly positive impact on me. And even my scoutmaster, such a silly one, I had a scoutmaster, who had a very significantly positive impact on me as well. But at the end of the day, as many strong figures I've had in my life, you never get over that person.
The recently liberated brother. No one deserves to,
whether it's mother or father that's abandoned you, you never get over it. You know, like, it doesn't matter that it doesn't matter that I'm better off. And that's a cope. I probably would have been better off having a father who loved me, who was there for me. But I'm better off. That's what I tell myself, and I believe it. Even though I know it's not true. You know what I'm saying? But I'm happy with where I am. I'm happy with pretty much everything that's going on with me. I'm happy with my wife. I would never want to ever go back in time and change anything ever in my entire life, just on the off chance it might cause me to never have met her, because she's one of the greatest things that's ever happened to me. But it's additionally fucked up too, because my dad, call him John. I'm gonna call him John. They call him sperm donor, would have been better. What's additionally upsetting is I know he has at least one other kid, and he wants to be in her life. That hurts, man. That hurts a lot. That's a painful experience for me. And my sister's only 2 years younger than me. I was a weird kid growing up. But I met my sister when I was 14. And we used to have a little bit of like a relationship. And I was really happy when I had a sibling. That was cool. But we really never were able to bond after a certain point. And what's so interesting is that my mother and my sister's mother came to the agreement when we first met. It's like, I was 14, she was 12. My mom and her mom, and we would go out like once a month. It was cool. I really enjoyed that experience. It was a cool thing. We came to the understanding that if John ever found out about her, knowing me, that he would cut that relationship off. Both of our mothers felt that way. And so like it was like a secret relationship, like secret fucking sister and brother. It was weird for my father, and I can't help but think that now that like she doesn't want to be in my life, which also hurts. Because I grew up a single kid, and I always wanted a sibling, brother or sister. I just always wanted a sibling, and I finally got it. Like, imagine that. And I was like, oh my god. But it feels like I don't have a relationship with her because of my father. That's it. That hurts too.
Think he'll remember you?
And I remember being young. And I remember my mother was very, very active in a lot of advocacy for disabilities. Because, she was by Castle. One of the things she did not only brought half of Long Island, but she also was, she would work with the donations, like the organizations that they donated to. And she was very active with like muscular dystrophy and like Autism Speaks. And my sister was also kind of active with them as well, because she was a beauty pageant winner. Isn't that crazy? So she would be at the events too. And I remember one day, I didn't want to go to an event. I forget how old I was. But it was because I knew my sister was going to be there. And I didn't want to go because she didn't want to talk to me, because I would try to talk to her and she would just kind of ignore me. And it made me sad. I didn't want to go. And I remember, this is one of the things, I love my mother. It's one of the reasons why. She went there, and my sister talked to her. She's like, oh, where's Bernadette? Where's Dan? Yeah. And my mom is a fucking pisser. So she goes, well, he didn't come because he didn't want to see you, because you don't want to talk to him, because he's constantly trying to like talk and hang out with you, and you always ignore him. Right? My mom is a fucking blunt motherfucker. She just told her that flat out. And so when she got home, she texted me, and we talked for like a day, and then she stopped talking to me again. What a terrible experience. I was sad, man. I forgot how many years it's been. I was still at the bus company last time I tried to talk to her. I remember my Jaji passed away. It was my Polish grandpa. So it was just for a quick thing, my uncle Ed that I told you about. He's my biological uncle. My Aunt Kathy.
Did you just hold on to it?
Married into our family. But then, because I didn't have a father or a father figure, or father's side of the family rather, because of that, they like adopted me, and I was able to go to like all the family parties and stuff, and like they treated me like family. And I forgot where I was going with this for a second. forgot where I was going with this.
So Odin
Oh yeah, and that's like my Jaji. He helped raise me. He would like he would pick me up from the YMCA like once or twice a week, and we would play Monopoly, and we'd go to Burger King. And I always remember snacking French fries. I remember when he passed away. That was sad too, because he was a very important father, important male figure in my life as well. So that made me want to reconnect with my sister. And when that happened, I reached out to her and I tried to talk to her. And I can't describe it. I can't describe what she said, but it felt like she was just going through the motions. When I was like, how are you? Like, how are things going? And she would just ask me these questions that were like, I don't know, like par for the course. They were routine questions. Oh, how's your mom? How's your dad? But she didn't seem to really care or want to be engaged in conversation. That was sad. That sucked. That was rough. That sucked. That was fucking shitty. I hated that. Yeah, I have a lot of hang-ups with my father. And I'll tell you, even going to therapy and being at the most advanced stage of my life when it comes to me being able to deal with that anger.
Oh my god.
Like, you never get over it. You just get better at ignoring it. You know? I don't know, man. Yeah, so I don't know what would I do if I ever met my father again? Yeah, I don't think I ever want to meet my father again. I think that's the reality. I think a part of me, obviously, strives to be more successful because my interpretation of him leaving me was that he didn't think I was, like, worth anything. And so part of my motivation, unfortunately, to be successful is to show him that, like, he missed out, you know? But yeah, I don't think I'd want to ever meet him again. It's a sad thing, but I'm at that point. The last contact, not even contact, the last I heard of my father was a couple of years ago, when he randomly, during like COVID, reached out to my mother to like flirt with her to try to fuck my mom again. That was the weirdest fucking thing in the world. It's so weird. I'm like, she saw the message and she showed it to me. I'm like, what the fuck is this? She's like, oh, it's your father. I was trying to talk to this man since I was 5. I think I saw him twice when I was 2 and when I was 5 or something. And the first thing that he tried to do was fuck my mom again. Weird motherfucker. So yeah. But yeah, I have a lot of anger. And what's so interesting about the anger that I have for my dad, too, is like, my mother, at no point ever, and I mean this wholly, in my entire life, has ever spoken poorly about this man. She didn't speak well of him either. She just didn't speak about him. Not a singular time. I remember I was 18 years old when I finally asked about him myself. And I was like, hey, what the fuck happened? And I was like 18 or 19. Maybe it was 20, but I was like 18 to 20. And that's when she's like, yeah, you know, I was 5 months. We got married. We got pregnant. I really wanted to have a kid. And he didn't want to wear a condom. And I had trouble having kids, so my mom told me. And we had you. And 5 months into our relationship, into your pregnancy, he left. You know, he left. And he showed back up the day that I was giving birth to pretend like we were together still, to put on a show for his mother. That's what my brother told me. I was like, wow. She's like, yeah, he was younger than me, so maybe he wasn't ready to have a kid. It was weird. They're just almost empathetic towards him. And I get that. It's like I said, it's like a weird thing to like understand that, even though this is a person I hate more than anything else in the entire world, you know? But at the same time, you don't have to be a good husband to be a good father, you know?
Trusting the spirit to keep its word.
So...
But if there's even a chance...
Yeah, I know my mother didn't want to separate us because all the advice she gives to women who go through similar experiences is to let the guy have partial custody. If they say, I want to have the kid this many days, like, okay, that's fine. You know why she says that? She's like, because every single woman that I've ever told that, the guy gives up.
All of this is sinister.
He wants to see someone he loves.
They just give up. My mother was like, you can have custody if you want, or not full custody, obviously, but you can have visitation, you know, whatever state terms you want. And he got it, and he showed it twice. Showed 2 fucking times. Is that fucking terrible? She gave him exactly what he pretended he wanted. And he just couldn't adhere to it. That's crazy. That's terrible. That sucks. Because my mother didn't tell me that in a way to upset me, but it upset me. You know? It's almost like it would have been a little better if you did try to keep him away from me. At least an excuse. This motherfucker had every opportunity, and he just didn't want to be around. That's terrible. What a terrible feeling. That sucked. It's not a good feeling. Yeah, it's sad. I remember she told me that he wanted to get visitation so that his mother, I guess what would be my grandmother, could be able to see me. And my mom's like, sure, just pick him up. I want you to pick him up. We couldn't even do that. Couldn't even pick me up to drop me off at my grandmother's house and not be around for me. How fucked up is that? How terrible. Yeah, so... wrap it all up. I think this is why it's very important to have like very strong family structures. You know, if you're missing a mom or a dad, you know, try to have somebody else be there for you helps. Because I'll tell you one thing, I don't think I would be half the man I was today, or I am today, if the countless men in my life didn't step up. That's sad because you know, it's sad because the strongest, the ones that were there for me the most, have passed away. That's the worst part. And I don't think I was ready for that, you know? I don't think that I was ready to figure out what it's like to be a man by myself. But I guess you're never ready, right? Yeah. Unfortunate. I'm gonna go pee. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick.
Govi's bones.
What will you say to her?
To Govi?
Your mother. What have you left unsaid?
I guess... I just want to know if she's okay.
She's dead, boy.
I know that. You don't understand.
Neither do you.
Hey, it's a fragment of a language cipher. We should look for more like this.
Atreus, to me.
I'm coming.
Alrighty. We gotta get back.
Obviously, the marriage to Odin didn't last.
We gotta get back to
I
it.
ran up to him in the woods.
Back to it.
That was a singular
Every time he super chatted $2.06.
punishment enough.
Probably. It's what it is.
Better to him than he deserved.
Alright. So,
All
I had a
manner
couple
of
videos I
indignity,
wanted to
all
watch
in the
today.
name of maintaining peace and safety for her people.
Well, people want me to watch
But
this.
Odin's madness, his
Darkest
tyranny, his
TikTok
corruption
2,
of her magic,
Experts 2.
it became more than she could stomach, and at long last she broke it off.
How did I get to
Odin's
this?
wrath was fierce, and his
Stream
curses upon
shit.
her were more than she dared to fear.
Would I ever put my mother on stream? Maybe. I don't know.
After so much time
Not a bad
together,
idea.
she knew her vulnerabilities.
Maybe one day.
Exploited them to craft curses she could never break.
Alright.
Oh.
Somebody recommended this, how to be stoic during an argument. So this is from Charisma on Command. I believe it's a conversation,
Even to defend herself.
or it's a video about Lex Friedman, the way that he had the conversation with Kanye West. I'm interested in this because I like Lex Friedman a lot. But this is what I want to watch next. I really respect the guy. I think he's an incredibly intelligent guy, and he also taps into like an emotional intelligence that I really appreciate a lot, which is a little refreshing. You don't see a lot of people, I don't know, articulate that emotional intelligence. So I like the guy a lot. So let's watch it.
Ye has been doing interviews recently, and they have not all gone well. Ye has been doing interviews recently, and they have not all gone well.
Hey, we should stop calling him Ye then and start calling him Boo, am I right?
No, I ain't finished. I ain't finished my sentence.
Nothing you'll say has anything to do with
it. It's not uncommon for someone to get frustrated in a disagreement. What's rare is for you to argue with someone and have them walk away liking you more. But that's exactly what happened in the conversation between Ye and Lex Friedman. So in today's video, we'll break down that conversation.
Yeah, it seems like Lex was going for like the long game. It's like, yeah, I like you a lot, I respect you a lot, and I don't like the path that you're going down. And I think that I respect that. There are times where I felt like I didn't like the conversation. I still love Lex, but that conversation actually turned me on to him, which is interesting. You know, some of the stuff around his ex-wife, Kanye's ex-wife, is a little bizarre, and the way that he talks about her, it feels a little obsessive. And it's, of course, Lex doesn't call it out, but he was there mostly for the anti-Semitism from Kanye West.
To show you 8 tips to change someone's mind and have them love you for it. First, let's start with 2 common mistakes you have to avoid if you want to be persuasive. Here's a quick example of mistake number 1. Now tell me this, have you seen the KratosLand's BLM documentary?
I watched some of that documentary, but here's what I would say to you. When you watch that video of George Floyd...
No, it's not a but. It's not a but. Ye clearly wants to say something about that documentary. That question was a tee-up. When you transition away from a topic without first listening to what the other person wants to say, it can make them feel like you don't value their thoughts.
That's true. That's fair. I guess you'd have to personalize. Like, if he asked me that question, I would say, like, no, I haven't watched it, but, like, what do you think about it? That's one of the things that's interesting. There's not a lot of people who have conversations who will, like, ask somebody something and then sit down and, like, listen to it and absorb it and just, like, relax. A lot of these are the worst conversations are, like, 5, boom, 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 boom. Those don't turn, I don't like those conversations. Those aren't stimulating to me. Argumentative conversations about topics. I don't like debaters. I don't like people who are more interested in winning the conversation than they are with having an honest conversation. I have difficulty respecting people like that. That, like, especially when, like, they know that they're incorrect, but they still argue because they want to be right. I don't really respect debaters, you know?
The ultimate form of this is mistake number 2, cutting someone off. This is what starts the conflict between Piers and Ye.
I need you to watch.
I know what you said about it.
I'm going to finish. La, la.
It's all right. You don't have to do that. I know what it means.
La, la, la means be quiet and let me finish.
Oh, but you did interrupt my question.
So,
almost every heated argument starts when you stop listening or empathizing with the other person. So if you want to disagree with someone without it turning into a fight, the first step is to listen deeply and make the other person feel heard. Lex does this in a very overt way.
Do you think I would trust anybody at this point in my life? Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's tough. I hear you.
I hear you. 3 powerful words, especially when someone is sharing a negative feeling. For more complex ideas, a great way to make someone feel heard is with... Yeah, see, I didn't watch that conversation between, what's that fucking idiot's name? Piers Morgan. Yeah. I was thinking Piers 1. I didn't watch that conversation. So I can't speak to it specifically. It's possible that, like, you know, Kanye was being very argumentative and dismissive in his own way, and they were going back and forth. What I do know is I watched Pierce's conversation with Andrew Tate, and I fell for this. And he had the conversation, which I think is fine. And then he edited about 20 minutes of it out, and I didn't notice it. And I watched the edited version instead of the unedited version. And that made me, like, very frustrated, because I remember watching a clip before that where he tried to blame the tragic, I think it was suicide, of a young girl who had succumbed to social media pressures, and it had nothing to do with Andrew Tate. It seemed like it was in the opposite direction.
Never mind. I just got returned.
And I was like, wow, that's really shitty. And then I watched it, full thing. That was the preview, and that wasn't in it. And I didn't think about it until after. I'm like, wait a minute, where's this? And this motherfucker had the conversation and cut stuff out to make him seem more victorious. And so, like, I don't really have a lot of respect for Piers. I don't think it's it's possible he was just there for a dunk, which is obviously just pathetic. You know, you're supposed to be there to have the positive conversation, and you know, the more positive as you can possibly get in that case. Positive paraphrasing. Repeat back what they've said accurately in a way they'll agree with.
When you've allowed people to be in your life that shouldn't be there, and then they do the thing you knew they were going to do, and you're screaming at them, but you really need to scream at yourself? Yeah, so you realize anything that's like anger or frustration, that's something that's wrong with you that needs to be dealt with.
Yes. Making someone feel heard is an important part of any conversation. So now let's get into how to command respect specifically in a disagreement. Here's a quick example where Ye says something Lex disagrees with.
A Jewish friend of mine said, come go visit the Holocaust Museum. And my response was, let's visit our Holocaust Museum, Planned Parenthood.
The first step when you want to disagree is to use a calm, slow voice.
With all due respect, I grew up in the Soviet Union. I'm Jewish. Parts of my family perished in the Holocaust of Nazi Germany. I have to push back.
How your argument is received is not just about what you say, but how you say it, specifically your speed and volume. Listen to these next 2 clips. Who would you rather argue with? Ye or what?
Whole again.
And, like, realistically speaking, too, you kind of have to, like, know the person you're having a conversation with. Kanye is a genuine person. I don't think anybody can take that away from him. Kanye is a very genuine person. I just don't think that he is particularly good at talking to people. But if you're an interviewer... That's the thing. If you're an interviewer, you kind of you have to have the responsibility of putting somebody in a situation that's, like, comfortable for them. You have to have, like, a decent identify them in a sense, but you have to have your goal. So it seems like Piers Morgan's goal, from what I've seen, and again, it's limited, so I'm not going to. Because I've only seen, like, his Andrew Tate conversation. I was very turned off to that. His goal seems to be content and sensationalization over effectiveness, right? Whereas Lex's goal truly just seems to be to get Kanye to disengage with a lot of the anti-Semitism, the downplay of the Holocaust. That was one of the examples. The ideology that, like, all Jewish people in some capacity are to blame for, you know, some of the bad Jewish people that he's met. Right? I think that he did a good job at starting that, because you don't change your mind in a day. It takes you a while. I could be wrong about this, but I remember I had the conversation with Abba, and it was myself, Destiny, a bunch of other people. But people were like, hey, Papa, gotta watch this No Jumper. And it's like about a half hour in, they talk about fatphobia in a way where it seems like he's changed his tune a little bit on his perspective back then. And so, like, I didn't watch it. I'm probably not going to watch it. Not in, like, a disrespectful way. It just doesn't, like, particularly interest me.
But like, hey, that's the goal, right? Is to like maybe have a slight impact 3 weeks later.
I was to tell you the story of whom you're the
brawler. I want to empower yourself and don't need them and do it yourself. Take a few steps back to go.
You ain't got the answers, man. You ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers, Sway.
The most dangerous place.
Jesus Christ. Yelling at Sway. So it was going to be disrespectful.
For a black person in America is in their mother's stomach. 900 to 1 million abortions in the United States a year. I hear you. But there's something about the rape, the torture, the murder. This advice is most useful when something triggers you. If you feel yourself getting angry, let that be your cue to pause, take a breath, and use a calm, slow voice. For example, a few days before the conversation with Lex, Ye tweeted, "When I wake up, I'm going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people."
I'm a bit sleepy tonight, but when I wake up, I'm going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. The funny thing is I actually can't be anti-Semitic because black people are actually Jew. Also, you guys have toyed with me and tried to blackball anyone who goes opposes your agenda. Jesus Christ. You guys? You're talking about Jewish people. Oh my God.
Then, throughout the conversation, Ye has been talking about the evils of the media, and he insists on calling it the Jewish media. This frustrates Lex, but listen to how he responds.
Don't say Jewish media and Jewish-controlled media. JM. Like, man, you sound like it sounds too much like 1930s Nazi Germany.
That last clip has another great habit. If you're going to criticize.
Well, I like that too. So,
too much like 1930s Nazi Germany.
I think one thing that people should understand when you're having a conversation with somebody is that it is okay to get angry, and it's okay to express that anger. But you need to express that anger in a constructive way. So Lex is getting very frustrated that Kanye is boiling down media to Jewish media and pushing this narrative that Jewish people control the media, and that they control the world in some capacity. That's a lot of anti-Semitic talk. That's the kind of shit that leads to the Holocaust, or led to the Holocaust. But you can't yell, because you'll become less effective. What you can do is you can just express that and just say, like, you're really sounding like one of the worst people in human history. I think a lot of times, and I think in this situation is another thing to give Kanye West credit for, is that he's picking up on the fact that he's disrespecting somebody who's been very respectful to him in this case. And he's like, oh, and, you almost take a step back. And you're like, fuck. And I think that's a positive thing. Because it's good to let people know when you're angry. It's not good to have a disproportionate response for the situation. That's your problem. A lot of people who get angry, they're justified. It's the response that is not justifiable.
Read it.
There's healthy ways to express your anger.
To spring forth like tomorrow.
Oh, I like that.
And Kanye is very, it seems like he's saying it in almost like a lackadaisical manner. The Jewish media, and Lex saying, this is very personally offensive to me because I'm a Jewish person. And I'm affording you a level of respect that you haven't gotten from like any other person that's having a conversation with you.
That last clip has another great habit. If you're going to criticize specific behavior. Listen here for another example.
When you say Jewish media, it's funny how this world works that way. When you say Jewish media, there's a large number of people that are hurting and have anger and even have hate in their heart when they hear Jewish media. That hate starts being directed towards the Jewish people.
Lex doesn't call Ye racist or anti-Semitic. He criticizes the specific actions he didn't like. If you want to persuade someone,
well, no, it's not that he didn't just criticize the specific action. What he did was he gave a considerable amount of charitability to Kanye West's perspective on Jewish media. So what he did in that message is he did very effectively, I think, is what he said is like when you say Jewish media, it's a dog whistle for a lot of people to get very upset and frustrated and target hate to Jewish people. And the subtext of that was even if you don't have hatred in your heart for Jewish people, and you might be stating something you feel, other people will listen to you and go and interpret it in a way that is very bad. Now, I think Kanye West does have some hatred in his heart for Jewish people, though I think he has less so after that conversation. But, especially as a large, very, very influential person, Kanye West is arguably one of the most influential people in the world. You have to be very careful about what you say. Because let's say that Kanye West was just saying that the Jewish people had disproportionate representation, which is a true thing. Understand that when you say that, some people like myself, it's in a questionable way. And I think that it has a lot to do with historical. You know, just so you guys knew, like back in the day, Jewish people handled a lot of money because it was seen dirty to like Christians, Catholics, whatever, to handle money. And so Jewish people handle money, and then they got rich from that. And I think that maybe some of the representation that Jewish people have is because of that. I think in America, Jewish people happen to be the whitest minority, which I know sounds bizarre. And they were able to, unfortunately, take advantage of, like, every other group of people, black and other people of color. But not because they're Jewish, but just because they happen to be white. And then it potentially leads up to some disproportionate representation. There's very strong family units in the Jewish community as well. There's a lot of different stuff. There's like a lot of different nuanced factors as to why Jewish people may be disproportionately represented in a higher capacity, but it's not because they are inherently better. Some of it has an echo from the past of being oppressed. Doing jobs that, like I said, like being bankers, that was considered a dirty job back in the day. But other people can interpret what I said the factoid that like Jewish people do seem to represent a higher or disproportionately represent different affluent areas, and they get see Jewish media, they control the world, and we need to hurt these people. So to be very careful about what you say, and that was what Lex did there, and it was communicated very well. It wasn't super explicit, but I think Kanye could read between the lines and listen to what Lex was saying, which was fundamentally like you're pushing a hateful idea that hurts me. You know, and if Kanye's a person, which he very clearly is, that will upset him to hurt somebody that is respecting him, especially in the moment, right?
Have to avoid the far too common mistake of negatively labeling the entire person. Imagine how you would feel to be peers in these next clips. No, you're a liar. You're pressing the agenda. You're being a Karen. When you label the entire person as bad, it's likely to dig in and become hard to persuade. If someone already seems dug in, there is something you can do to help them become more receptive to new ideas. When you agree, you give them a shovel. Tell them, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Angry. Most people make a common mistake. They keep their positive thoughts to themselves and say their negative thoughts out loud. Sharing when you agree helps them perform. As you'll see in this next clip, it's also a great way to diffuse anger. For context, just so the clip makes sense, Ye previously said he doesn't like BLM and thinks the organization used George Floyd's death for their own benefit. You should find people you like and trust. Don't tell me what I should do. I'm not one of your BLM marchers. Listen, I'm with you on BLM. A lot of organizations use tragedy, and I watched the Candace Owens documentary. What was your take on it? Now, sometimes you truly struggle to agree with anything the other person is saying, but no matter what your disagreement is, you can almost always express empathy. For example, Lex hates what Ye said about Jewish people, but he can still express empathy for how hard things must be for Ye right now because of that tweet. And notice how this improves Ye's mood. You're under a lot of attack. A lot of attack. By a lot of people. You have a vision, and you're trying to feel your way through it, and you might get destroyed for it. That's the human, that's the risk you take. It's a wonderful life, though. Expressing empathy is a great way to strengthen your connection to someone, even in an argument. It can also help that person extend empathy back to you. And seeing things from each other's perspective is often all it takes to transform a heated argument into a calm collaboration. This is especially powerful when you combine it with another habit. Be vulnerable when you feel a negative emotion. Let's look at an example where Ye says something potentially upsetting to Lex. Because I hope I'm somebody you can trust. I can trust you. In Lex's position, most people would get angry or defensive. Instead,
I would just be confused. I don't know if I get angry or defensive, but I can see why you would. Lex had a very interesting response to this, and I remember because it stuck out to me. He said, that upset me, because I want to be somebody you can trust. It was basically what he said. Lex and Ye talk for a few more minutes, and then Lex says this. I gotta tell you, I have to be honest. This is silly because you don't know me, but it hurt me. You say you don't trust me. You kind of lost me. Honest vulnerability is rare and very likely to make the other person respect you more. It also helps build trust because you're sharing something that most people would try to hide. In this particular conversation, it actually helps Ye see himself trusting Lex one day. It could hurt you. It could help you. It can also hurt you. This is the problem. Well, and this is one of the things. This might give Kanye credit. Being a little bit emotionally vulnerable isn't a bad thing. You trust somebody with your emotions a little bit. You shouldn't be going around trusting everybody with all your emotions. Sometimes it can backfire and make you feel a little silly. But you have to be confident in like how much you can release. You know, like when I had that conversation with Duff Noodles, I think this is a great one. We got to a point, I'm not going to talk about the specifics, but he was mocking a situation that was very personal to me, very upsetting to me. And I got to the point where I asked him if he's ever loved somebody before. And of course the people there were younger, and they thought that that was a silly thing to ask. But I still stand by that question, because I don't know how somebody could mock the thing that he was mocking, but also understand what it's like to love somebody. It was a real question, and it was an emotionally vulnerable question. And I wanted to answer it, and we couldn't get that. You know? But it's a very important question, because we're having a conversation about an emotional topic, and so to try to be fully logical, I think that comes from a place of ignorance, and a lot of the ignorance I think is in, and it's unfortunate because it almost sounds validating, but it comes from a lack of age and life experience. It's a big thing, you know, and it's so unfortunate. It always sounds condescending, but like some people aren't going to understand it until they're older. You know, you're just not going to get it till you're a bit older, and you understand in a more personal way, you know?
It's like I could be turning my thing from a potential world vision to a code, or I could be opening up conversations with new friends that I may trust someday.
If you do everything we've covered so far, it's likely you'll form strong connections even during disagreements. And with that connection, you'll often see the other person try to use humor to take little breaks in the argument. A little way to say, hey, we may be arguing, but I don't hate you for it. When you feel it's appropriate, try to accept these playful breaks. For example, this next clip is a bit of an awkward forced joke, but you can see Ye loves that Lex played along.
People, just in general, they love me so much. I'm like actually a hard guy to really hate for a long period of time, just because of my huge cock. And that's what I noticed.
It was such a very cringe joke, and Lex's response was so cringy too. I remember this. I remember the feeling.
I didn't understand why he showed it to me when we first met, but now I understand.
Yeah,
it's very nice.
Hey,
Congratulations.
Ye also tried to joke with Pierce, but Pierce steamrolled it, so they went right back to arguing.
No, I said answer my question. No, I'm interviewing you too.
Well, you can't interview me. It's my interview.
You're Bono. I'm interviewing you too. That's the way we rap.
Let me just put this here.
So no.
Hang on.
You're trying to.
The last habit we'll cover today is arguably the strongest thing in this entire video. If you want to influence someone, give them a reputation they like and will want to live up to. Both Piers and Lex want to guide Ye to the same conclusion. You shouldn't vilify an entire group because of the act. She's with a few people.
Yeah. Listen, I can't speak. I can't speak too specifically, but what I will say is that I don't know if that was necessarily Piers Morgan's goal. If I'm being like charitable, maybe it was. It feels like there's a secondary goal there as well, to kind of put him on the spot in a way that would look good for the clip. I could be wrong about that. Maybe I'm speaking skeptical. I don't get that with Lex. It's something I appreciate. It's something I appreciate a lot from that guy.
Ye argues with them both that he shouldn't have to apologize for hurting Jewish people because he himself is hurt and no one has apologized to him.
Have you felt my pain yet? You haven't felt my pain. I don't have to feel your pain because I also have pain too that's not being recognized.
Now watch how Piers responds to Ye's pain. It does not make Ye apologetic.
That doesn't change the fact that when you insult the Jewish people and say going DEFCON 3 on the Jewish people, that is as racist as anything you say you've been through and any pain that you've experienced. It's the same thing. Racism is racism.
It's not necessarily wrong. Yeah.
And you know that, I think, don't you?
Yeah, obviously, that's why I say Pierce is right. But when
Johnny just like casually, I'm racist because they hate me. It's like, okay, I guess that's all.
In an argument, just being logically correct won't often change how someone feels. That's a common misconception people have. Being correct is not the same as being persuasive. Now, listen to how Lex responds to Ye's pain.
A great man, still, through the pain, does the right thing.
Lex knows that Ye wants to be a great man, so he gives him this reputation to live up to.
As somebody who cares for you, and hopefully could be a friend, Ye, I gotta say, these words, and the words about Jews, is not the words of a samurai, of a great man.
Here's a different example from later in the conversation. Instead of simply saying, you shouldn't be hateful, Lex again describes Ye in a way Ye likely wants to live up to.
You have the skill and the capacity to really add love to the world, and I hope you do that. But I can tell you're a man that has love in his heart, and I hear that. I hear it through the words, explicitly and implicitly, and I think if we're to engineer a better future, the way to do that is with love.
This is what finally persuades Ye to give a heartfelt apology.
So before God, what I would do is start off as a samurai and say, I'm sorry for hurting
a samurai. Isn't that weird? My people love fucking anime, dude. I'm just saying. The writing's all over the place. Fucking samurai.
hurting you as a Jewish person. I'm sorry for the way that made you feel, and I'm sorry for the entire population of a race that I feel is actually my brothers.
At the end, they reach an agreement that we can hopefully all agree with. We want to live in a world filled with love, not hate. As Lex said, if we're to engineer a better future, the way to do it is with love. So to that end, Charlie and I have donated $250,000 from Charisma on Command to Charity Water. Jesus. Because we want to live in a world where we all love and take care of each other. Through Charity Water, every $40 donated gets someone access to clean water for 10 years. Yes, the amount of money that some people spend on food in one day, you can give someone clean water for 10 years who otherwise wouldn't have it. Whether you donate or not, please know that we couldn't have made our donation without you. However you support our channel, whether it's watching our videos or joining Charisma University, you are the reason that over 6,000 people will have access to clean water. So thank you for helping us make the world a better place. If you feel inspired to help even more, you can go to charitywater.org.
What the hell are they wasting it for?
Slash Charisma to donate. Even a $1 donation makes a difference. It helps get people clean water, and it shows the world that there are good people who care about each other. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Oh, cool. I like that video. Appreciate that video.
We've all had conversations that started out.
Oh, stop. I don't watch
That's my desert land. Very far from
Do gods live there?
You meant hentai? Everyone likes hentai.
Many gods.
Hentai's right.
Good or bad?
Not as simple as that, I'm afraid.
I do want to watch this Xander Hall video. I'm just trying to see what I want to play while I watch this video. If you're dumb and don't read, you won't like manga, so you get the pass. Well, manga isn't very reading intensive. It's like a comic book. I used to read manga. Real books. Let me see. You know what's interesting? Black fries. What do they sell? The anniversary pack. What the fuck is the anniversary pack? Historical language. You know what's interesting? Back in the day, books were considered like TV or Snapchat nowadays. And now reading any book is considered like a positive nerd stimulating move. You know what I mean? You know, you're better off reading like any book and consuming yourself on social media for a period of time. Well, I don't think I'm gonna have a quest here. Yeah, I don't have any quests to do here. I got all my characters out from 60, awaiting the X-Men.
Right on your side.
I guess I could play
What did you
balloons,
see
but
in
I've
that
just
ball
been
that's
so
so
turned
wrong?
off to balloons lately.
It is not important.
Seemed important to you personally.
It is a rash impulse. You need not dwell on my failings.
Wow. That was almost an apology. Well, I guess you do like to smash bottom.
I used to read World of Warcraft books. They're pretty good. By Richard Knack, I think his name was. He's an excellent writer. Whoa! No, I don't feel like playing Overwatch. I'm gonna burn that stuff
Look, I just want to know the truth from now. Okay? I don't care if it hurts me or not. I want to learn.
Last night I cringed at myself for reading Warriors as a kid. I don't know why. I cringed in Harry Potter. I don't know what that is. No, I can't do God of War while I do this. It requires too much attention, focus. Let me just my audio.
Oh boy,
yeah,
boy. I'm about
So,
talking about a topic that,
that's good. Am I going to play new Pokemon? Probably not.
Well, you can die that way.
It's cringe. No. To be honest with you, I feel like, I don't know, man. Pokemon doesn't really do it for me. I feel like what's the point? You know?
Look,
for me, it kind of feels like they haven't really updated the game in a significant way. I feel like the playstyle.
I don't care if it hurts me or not. I want to learn.
I understand the obsession with collecting monsters in the game, but I used to love it. It's just so fucking boring.
Go.
I can't watch, brother. Good
It's
luck.
just so fucking boring. Alright, guys, this is a video by Xander Hall. And it's about Boogie. The Boogie is from 2988. The drama is sad. The last time we looked at Xander Hall was with that weird short bald guy. Sorry, I call him short. Was coming after him for like no reason. That weird headpiece. So I'm interested in checking this out. So let's see what we got here. Ninja Star. Very, very clear.
oh boy, I'm about to be talking about a topic that, well, not really a topic, but actually a person, and a topic surrounding that person. The person in question is quite controversial as far as internet figures go. Now, he's not controversial because he's necessarily done or said anything particularly offensive, at least nothing that he's stood by and would generally continuously hang for someone's reputation. Really, this figure has a bad reputation almost by default, and I'll explain why. One of the biggest reasons why this particular...
And it seems like the biggest reson why he's got a bad... Well, you know, okay,
maybe
so
we can
this
get up
is
to one of those balconies for a better look.
It's actually more referencing Ethan Klein, but I think maybe Boogie hears some of this. I think part of it... It's too loud for what I'm trying to do. Boogie got really big doing skits. Then at some point, Boogie started doing commentary. And I think that and this is very commonsensical, those are both very different things to do. Is skits versus commentary. And it's like, it's almost like a welder, a really good welder, changing fields, being a mechanic, but still thinking that like that welding experience makes them somehow like a mechanic. You know? It's like you got big doing a thing, and then you switch over to audience commentary in some sense. But you can't really hold up to the flame. You can't really hold up to it. It's one of those things, and the other part is that Boogie doesn't seem to be particularly. He seems like bizarrely.
Yeah. Thank you. I'll get a plate.
It's the centrist meme. Where people make fun of centrists. They call him like. He's every side is relatively non-controversial, but it becomes controversial. You know, it's spineless.
The person is as controversial as they are is because they've been around for a very long time. He's been making videos on YouTube since, mid-2000s, and because of that, I think a lot of you Zoomers in chat, not a Zoomer myself, but I remember this time, a lot of you may remember a time on YouTube when there wasn't as much moral judgment type of content you made, right? You
That's
can make
true.
Silly, perhaps even embarrassing content.
Not even that. You can make like flat out fucking racist content. Be like, this is incredible. Like, it's totally acceptable back then. She's also Trisha Paytas. These were some of like the you know, and in fact, a lot of people from the past. I think that Jeffree Star is one of the people, especially who complain about how YouTube is dying. That's why I brought up Jeffree Star. They are memes. A lot of people, they became reality TV stars on YouTube. And I think that YouTube has shifted in a way where there's a lot more creators on YouTube, which, saturates the market a little bit, and has less, because there's only so many views, there's a finite amount of views, and obviously I think the viewership has gone up overall, but, there's a more saturated market for viewing people, but there's also more intelligence on the platform. There's people who are like actually trying to engage critically with things and not just be a dumb fucking show, like Jeffree Star and people like that. And they just can't cope with the change. They can't cope with actually being a changing person.
And you didn't have to worry about it destroying you, right? Not to the same degree that it can today. The person in question has been really public figure on the internet since the mid-2000s, and because of that, no Nazi stuff or anything like that. And because of that, there's just
not based
a long list of things they've done online publicly that you can pick and chew at and attack them over, right? Now,
yeah, so sure.
My opinion on this person in question is not necessarily important. Personally, my feelings
That's why I'm here.
Overwhelmingly strong. I do have problems with things that this figure has said or done in the past, but it's not Bosch. Stop saying Bosch. I do have a few problems with what this figure has said and done in the past. However, overall, I'd say I'm pretty close to the right? And I'd say overall, it's not people. I'd say that overall, pretty positive opinion on him. Even with the mistakes that happen. I respect his long
What's going on?
On YouTube, and he has a very impressive, I've been saying he has a very impressive
Boy, get out of here.
Fine. How do we get you out?
Is Boogie
Gold chains
298.
on the wall.
What?
Show you guys a picture of
There are
him.
three of them. What do I do?
Atreus, focus. You can do
Has
this.
been
Please,
overwhelmingly known and quite famous.
Okay,
Even if you don't know his name, you've seen his face, or you've seen the character that he very famously played Francis in a video from Eve or a
we have to eat them. These are out of order.
Right? And
Good boy.
honestly, I think
So the
Boogie's
Lucas on the
got,
left,
you know,
Sun on the
pretty
right,
hard
with the Midgard in the middle. But which
Is he
spot do I
perfect?
pull?
No. Has he been cringy at times? Sure. Has he said bad things, done things that are
Middle, quickly.
Sure. But it's always felt a little disproportionate, at least. Now, I don't follow YouTube drama.
Middle,
YouTube hate,
quickly.
that's something to do. But the hate towards this figure is always felt so disproportionate. There's so many people on the internet, so much more admittedly famous than him, who are
Can I get
so
them in order?
objectively
Middle,
worse,
quickly.
and yet so much hate seems to be centralized on one guy.
Yeah, so I'm not like super incredibly educated
Sun on the right, Midgard
I
in the
will say
middle.
that, but something I will say is that I think a lot of it's reaction. So I think it's all time, but like your reaction to getting canceled is much more is going to be very impactful. I think I'd say like it's 50% of your cancellation is how you react to it. When Boogie gets criticism, he doesn't take it very well. To put it very lightly, he doesn't really take it very well. And I think that people are like, oh, what's up with this guy? Like, you know, I don't respect him, and then they tend to, you know, well, they tend to respect him less, obviously, because of that. I think that that's a pretty big factor in why he gets what, you know, the Interpol would consider a disproportionate response to people.
So, the hate might seem so different, right? And, you know, for a while I think you attribute that, well, whatever, you know, the internet just happens to hate some people more than others. Some people suggest it's fatphobia or even,
I was just about to make a joke about how it's fatphobic, and he fucking comes out with that. I don't think it's anything to do with fatphobia. At all. If it was a girl, maybe. Dudes don't, I mean, fatphobia exists for men too, but I'll tell you, as a guy, nobody has given a singular fuck about my weight ever.
You have to stop that chain.
Really ever. When they get judged for that.
I do not know.
It's far more than fucking men.
divisions, but
I know what to do.
I don't really want to talk about that, because those are obvious reasons why, you know, people hate other people on the internet. I just want to talk about how the internet can be recently put out a video in which he talks about the fact that he had lost a shit ton of money to crypto.
Yeah.
And that he needed to make a lot of content in order to financially recover how much money he lost.
Well, that's not exactly the accurate representation. So he made a video about how he was like doing poorly because of bad investments that he made that he had previously bragged about. There's something to, you know. But he was talking about how he needs money, and it came off more as begging rather than anything else. He didn't, like, there was one point where he's like, if I get enough members, maybe I'll start doing membership-only content. Well, maybe you should be doing that instead. You know, he's in a position where, like, yeah, this doesn't get the same number of views as he used to, absolutely not. But he has to make a platform for him to make daily content, or even more than daily content. And he just doesn't, even now, I mean, I haven't checked this thing in a while, but he doesn't even post daily last time I checked. And when he does, it's like maybe a 4-minute video. And it's like, maybe, do you think that maybe it would be helpful if you post more frequently, maybe longer videos, maybe you streamed a couple hours a day, maybe put in a little bit more work? Yes, we have a video from yesterday. It's a 5-minute video. Then we have a video from 5 days ago. It's 7 minutes. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, why did you take it off for 4 days after posting a 7-minute video? Maybe post more frequently. You know? Put in a little bit more work. It's put in some more work. Put in the work. Stream for 2 hours. Do a little bit more. But oh, I didn't mean to do that. Post a little bit more. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem like he's putting in the work to be able to ask for an increased paycheck. You know,
to crypto. Now, a lot of people, it's easy to say, oh, well, fuck him, he lost money in crypto. Fuck people got involved in crypto. They were stupid. They got what they deserved. But I don't necessarily agree that because somebody fell for a scam in crypto, at least.
Well, it's important to understand that he made a lot of money off that crypto. He was bragging about it previously for quite a while, and then it dipped. That's what my understanding of it is. You know, he previously bragged about it quite a bit. So
the currencies he invested in ended up being a scam. I don't think that somebody falling for a scam, means they deserve to, lose everything, right? Or lose, a lot of what they have. I think that's unfair. Regardless, though, that happened a while ago. People gave Boogie a lot of shit. And then some unfortunate coincidence happened. Just yesterday, Boogie put out a video. Titled, I have a rare form of cancer.
So, I heard about that. I didn't make content out of it. My understanding, and I could be completely wrong, and I'm sure Xander Hall will get more into the specifics, is that it sucks, obviously, but it's not like a life-threatening cancer. It's like some kind of cancer that's somehow, for lack of a better term, not so bad. I don't know how that exists. But that's like my limited understanding of it.
Let's go ahead and watch. We're only going to watch the beginning of the video because that's the most relevant part of it, and then we're going to get to the overall meat of this topic, what I want to talk about here. Let's hear what Boogie has to say.
I often say, though, every day that I wake up is a good day. It's the one day when I don't wake up that sucks. So I've been debating for a while to talk to you guys about this, but I hope it brings you guys a little bit of clarity about some of the videos I've made in the last month or so. Because, you remember about 3 weeks back I said that I likely could potentially have a form of cancer?
Okay.
Turns out I got a rare blood cancer called polycythemia vera, which basically makes your body produce too many red blood cells. And when I started taking that testosterone supplement, it makes
without treatment, it can be very life-threatening, but with proper medical care, can help ease signs, symptoms, and complications. So it seems like it's very manageable.
Your body produced too many red blood cells. And when I started taking that testosterone supplement 7 or 8 years ago, however long it's been, we knew that this was a possibility. You never think you're going to be the guy who gets that side effect, though, right? Sure, you never think it's going to be you. But sometimes it is. It has to be somebody. But the good news is, this is a disease that takes a really long time to get you. Statistically speaking, I'll die of a blood clot or a heart attack or a stroke due to one of those blood clots. And most people, after getting diagnosed, live another 20 years. So if you're going to get a cancer, this is the one to get. You know me and my dark sense of humor. When my doctor told me all of this, I said, if I die of cancer, Doc, instead of my morbid obesity, which I've been working so hard on for the last 30 years, I'm going to be pissed.
But I will say, I don't like those jokes. So Boogie2988, one of the types of content he's made the last couple of years that I've actually liked quite a bit is his...
Well, why not? That's like a cope joke. If anything, that's like the most justifiable joke he can make. He's like, Doc, I've been working so hard to get fat, and now I'm not even going to die to that. What a shame. He's obviously joking, but what's wrong with that joke?
Weight loss updates. I've actually quite enjoyed watching as he's lost quite a bit. Isn't he a chud? No, he's not. I've actually enjoyed watching as he becomes healthier and loses weight. I mean, it's an inspiring and nice thing to see, especially if the weight loss is making the person who's losing the weight happy or happier. Something a lot of people tend to be iffy on with Boogie, and I agree, is that he tends to be a little, with his humor, and I know why he does it, and he's got an explanation for it that seems reasonable, but nonetheless people are still off-put by it, is how wishy-washy he can be about the concern for his health, right? Like in some of the darker humor he'll be like, I've been working on killing myself with obesity for years. People don't like those jokes. When people hear jokes...
Why? I don't think that's true at all. I think people love those jokes. Self-deprecating humor can be very funny. Okay, I actually got through it. Yeah, so self-deprecating humor can be very funny. I don't understand why that's a joke that bothers you. That's just a little weird to me. I can understand why Boogie struggles to lose weight in the public eye. A lot of it boils down to it can be very difficult to put yourself in that weird position where everything is content, and then you have this weird expectation. You're saying people have this way expectation of success now. It just gets weirdly pressured. I understand why he that could have been a little bit more difficult to lose weight in some capacity, but Do you think he's saying he's trivialized the situation? Okay, so, like, not really. I think it's a cope. It's like, oh, I'm gonna make a joke about myself because I'm upset. I don't think it's that it trivializes anything. I think it's a little pearl clutchy.
It's like that. They tend to be off-put by it. Am I the only one saying? Does anyone else agree? Does anyone else agree? Like, even if he's actively making the effort to help, like, make himself healthier, it really just kind of feels doomer and gives a bad vibe.
Okay.
It's kind of funny,
well,
but
dying,
it's a little dark. Yeah, like, I get that. I think a lot of people are off-put by those jokes, those comments. And it just, I think it feels pessimistic and doomery, and I think that vibe of negativity just kind of hangs over the viewer. You know what I mean?
Well, you're using the word doomery, so I feel like that's giving me something. Right.
The good news is, it might just give me a stroke or heart attack. That's just how I was going out anyway. The scary thing about it is that it eventually can lead to some health conditions, some of which I already have. Arthritis, stomach ulcers. Yeah, I've definitely developed into leukemia, but the good news is that's pretty much.
Well, there's different types of leukemia. There's like blood leukemia. There's like a type of leukemia that's not that bad. I know it sounds weird, but I went to a blood doctor somewhat recently, and they're like, yeah, you might have this. They're like, it's not like cancer type. You'd be fucking dead. He's like, it's not great, but it's not that bad. I was like, oh, okay. And then it's not that big of a deal. It's like whatever, dude. I think it's something to do with like producing too many like white blood cells or something like that. Something along those lines.
So I don't think that's going to happen. And there's tons of different ways to treat it. I mean, they can draw your blood, like when they donate blood, or taking a daily aspirin is going to help. Getting something to help.
Rather than draw me a picture.
Drugs that reduce the blood cell count, and things along that lines. It's pretty basic, easy stuff, especially.
That's the main important aspect of the video. Yes, Boogie does have cancer. Thankfully, it is a type of cancer that is pretty unlikely to result in the end of his life early by any means. Like, it seems like he's assuming that other health factors don't play a part. He should probably live another 20 years, right? And that's on average, right? Which of course isn't a guarantee. It's not a guarantee by any means, but it's, as he said before, if you're going to get diagnosed with cancer, I wouldn't say it's the cancer you want to get diagnosed with. There are plenty of other types of cancer you can get that are far less of a problem, that don't have any mortality rate at all. At least if you just deal with them, early. Like there's types of cancerous skin tumors you can get and whatnot. But I overall, it's not necessarily it's not like Walter White in the doctor's office getting his lung cancer diagnosis, finding out he's going to die in less than a year, supposedly, and like the sounds go, the ringing starts going, and like everything's cut out. Not perfect, not a perfect situation, but obviously not like the nightmare scenario, right? I'm glad that it wasn't the nightmare scenario. Despite that, though, it would be pretty. I think we can all agree it would be a pretty low blow for somebody to attack him on the grounds of his cancer, right? For those of you guys that don't remember, a very beloved figure by the name of, how am I blanking on his name right now? Total Biscuit. Very famous figure by the name of Total Biscuit. Died of cancer, it was 7-8 years ago now. It's like back in 2015, 2016, so it'd be like 7 years now. A while ago. It's been a hot minute, though, but a beloved internet figure, someone who's got... If you type LOLW in the chat right now, that's him. Type LOLW in chat, that is him. He's literally gone down in history as the iconic emote, LOLW. That's him. That's his face. How John Total Biscuit Bane became the LOLW emote. The original image was taken at MLG Anaheim 2013 by photographer... Okay, yeah, so basically, here's the full image. Slightly cut off, it appears, for some reason, but that's the more full image. That's the LOL-S version, just the LOL version. It's not LOLW. Anyway, and as you can tell, yeah, he died of cancer, and when he had cancer... There were some of the biggest assholes online attacked him for it, and their reputations still bear that mark because of how low of a blow it was considered to attack him, or on the grounds of his cancer, right? One of the people who said this was Keemstar. Here, let me see if I can find it. Keemstar, Total Bit.
Why am I not surprised? Huh? Okay.
Skit.
Look, you fucking piece of shit. I've been fucking watching you for years. I've been a fan of you for years. On the blue, you tweet at me, "You're not news," and then you fucking block me? Why? Well, I've never even fucking said anything about you at all. Now I want to. Now I want to be like, can't wait to report your death. Seriously. What's wrong with you, asshole?
Yikes. Yikes. Oh, let's play my theme song. Good job, YouTube. You're a little bit early for it, or a little bit late, I guess, but good autoplay choice. Yeah, so, you know, that's one that he's not quite lived down, even though he's a cockroach. That type of behavior, that type of rhetoric was seen as pretty disgusting and a low blow low enough that it just wasn't the kind of thing that people would defend or engage in a broader sense. But no, for some reason it seems that Boogie has passed a level of I guess people hate him enough that this is fine now, like engaging in.
Well, listen. I mean, my understanding, I could be wrong, is that they're friends in some capacity. So if the next thing you're going to say is that Keemstar made fun of Boogie, it could be in a friendly capacity. I don't really know, but we also, again, we've established that it's not like nearly as bad as apparently the type of cancer this other guy, Total Biscuit, has had. So they're a little bit disanalogous in that sense.
And like these low blows is fine. So Boogie put out a few tweets recently that goes over this. Let me go down the line and see if I can find. Here it is. So this is where he starts talking about it. So the rumor mill has decided that I'm faking my cancer diagnosis. Let me address this once and only one time. I don't think he only addressed it once, but let's watch this clip. Just so you guys can get a little bit of a glimpse into the internet.
Hey, sorry about my voice. I'm getting over the flu, but I wanted to say thank you to the people that have reached out in the last 24 hours. The content creators, YouTubers, fans, friends, even people that don't even like me have had nice things to say, and I'm really grateful. Thank you. I have a favor to ask to those people, though, and I'm sorry to have to ask anything. But I see the rumor mill's creeping back up again. The same rumor mill that's accused.
By the way, this video isn't as like a favor to Boogie or anything like that. I saw this happening, and I felt an internal desire to talk about this. And I'm going to give my overall thesis on why I'm covering all of this after this segment. So yeah.
We have God knows what else. And this time they've decided that I am faking my cancer diagnosis. And whereas I know that those...
I mean, listen, dude. I haven't seen a single person do that. Then I get it on Twitter because it's a toxic fucking cesspool.
Shouldn't we be open? Like here?
Are they actual, like, rumors with traction, or is it, like, 4 people on Reddit? You know what I mean? I feel like that's a pretty big, there's a pretty big difference between the two. I know I can get something in here, and that's really pissed me off that I can't fucking get in here right now. Let's see.
People know better. I know that nobody's that fucking stupid. It's still gonna spread like wildfire. So number one, if you're that kind of person, fucking stop. I get it's fun to LARP about me. I get it's fun to pretend that I'm a piece of shit. I get that I've made no mistakes in the past.
I never want to LARP.
Cancer's not something to pretend about.
I already kind of am right now, though.
Well, don't go anywhere. Be with you in 2 shakes.
Father.
I think I'm still sexy.
Cancer's not something to joke about. Cancer's not something pretending that I'm lying about cancer for clout and views is a fucked up thing to do. Get help.
I'm not kidding. I'll throw up.
My mom and my mom and my aunts, my uncles joked about my aunt's cancer one time. They made fun of her because she's losing her hair. And I know it sounds terrible, but it was actually a really nice moment. My family likes to joke about things, and she had a laugh, and then she got through her cancer, so it was nice. Sometimes it's okay to joke about cancer. PSA, guys. Not really in this context, though. I mean, in that context, it's like a more intimate situation, you know, brothers and sisters and all that. Bro, I know I can get this in here. This is so fucking annoying.
Secondly, if you see a YouTuber saying that I'm faking this shit, link it to me. I normally free speech advocacy, the whole 9 yards, but it's time I finally put my fucking foot down if I have to. So I will.
What?
Based, okay? And thirdly, if you see the shit in comment sections, if you see videos about it, shout these motherfuckers down. Let them know.
Okay, I mean, I understand this frustration. How many videos could there really be of people doing that? I think it's not that widespread of a problem. Not seeing any videos about it.
But I know reality. I get that it's fun to pretend. I get that it's fun to dunk on me and try to ruin my life. I get it. Fuck you if you're doing that. I don't want to run inside.
You chat. That's on my I thought about hidden channel. Holy oak! Let's see what we got here. The newbie. Sorry. I thought you were Deaf Noodles for a second, to be honest with you, because I can't fucking read. I don't know, dude. I'm not a particular fan of Andrew Tate. Seems like a genuine guy. Obviously, the manosphere in general is pretty progressive, pretty sexist. That would be where I'd have the issue with him. So, yeah. It's Bugatti. Very successful, obviously.
But I'd let you every other time. I didn't give a fuck what you had to say.
It's right here, dude.
But cancer's not a thing that we're going to joke about, okay?
Right.
Cancer's not a thing that we're going to pretend I'm lying about. That's not a thing we're going to do. Okay?
So, I want to talk about hate on the internet.
I got it.
So, I think it's a pretty normalized idea that, like, the internet is hateful. And that's just something you just kind of accept and move on with. People don't really think about why. Why is the internet so hateful? Why are people so desperate to behave in ways that I don't even think they would in real life?
Well, no,
Just to be the most horrific they can be. Like, literally, a guy has cancer. And I mean, even obviously in this case it's not as bleak, but even in the case of, say, Total Biscuit, there were people who would engage in this type of rhetoric, you know, the trolling, right? Because I guarantee the vast majority of the people that are claiming Boogie is faking his cancer, if they were really pinned down on it, they claim they were trolling. Because that's always the go-to, right? Like, oh, it's just trolling. It's internet trolling. It's just trolling, guys. It's just trolling. Obviously, this is not a good excuse. I think most people in my community can agree it's just trolling as justification for bad behavior is not a very good justification. You know, like if some Nazis out there saying, oh, I think the Jews have gone too far.
You gotta look like the consumer me? What does that mean? I'm not really sure what you mean.
You gotta do something about it. Like you guys would not accept the response, oh, I was just trolling. You know? And you shouldn't. You really shouldn't.
Why not?
With that said, Boogie continued with a few more tweets, and I want to continue them before I get to my news. Hey man, to make it very clear, make fun of cancer all you want. It's super fucked up, and dark humor helps us deal with fucked up things, but we're not going to pretend I'm faking it. That shit won't stand. I wrote about this in my book, and maybe I'll post it as a YouTube video one day, but she went to hospice center. Okay, I think it's unrelated. Oh yeah, his mom worked as in hospice and needs cancer. I blocked like 200 accounts today on Twitter. All of them have a few things in common. They are down the QAnon rabbit hole. They pick on other YouTubers like DSP and Riggs. They're notorious assholes with nothing of value is lost. Yes, as you can see, like Boogie's definitely had a lot of blocking spree on Twitter, which is understandable. I think blocking for your own mental health is completely valid. There was this time, like in 2016, when the whole like, oh, you blocked it, you blocked someone on Twitter. Oh my God, you can't marketplace my idea. You've lost your argument because you blocked him on Twitter. That was like the big thing. And people don't really do that anymore. It's kind of accepted. Yeah, people are being an asshole, block them on Twitter, don't engage. Who cares? That's what you're supposed to do. However, I really want to talk about the nature of hate on the internet, why people behave this way, specifically why it's okay perceptually, because I have not seen like an outspoken, statement by really a lot of big public figures that maybe are in the community of people that have been pushing this kind of shit, denouncing it, right? Not on the same level as you'd see it for, say, another figure. One who's maybe more liked on the internet. So, it's time to bring it around to cancel culture. That's right.
I suppose we can't rule it out.
Boogie is a victim of cancel culture. Those that have canceled him would never admit that they've canceled him or they're part of cancel culture because they tend to be very right-wing, but that's what they've done. They've engaged in cancel culture. And because of that, Boogie has basically been labeled by the internet as bad person. And it's funny because nothing that Boogie has done has really been that bad, from what I can tell. And I followed the guy about as close as you can follow another figure online without it being obsessive since like 2009. You know, he's been around a hot minute. Like, I don't feel like he's done much bad overall. And I'll look in spaces that he's appeared in. He's appeared on the PKA podcast a few times. I almost want to do a whole segment about how the PKA podcast accidentally fostered a community that hates them, like how the hosts of PKA accidentally created a community of haters, like just through their lack of moderation of their community. I want to make a video about that for a while now, but PKA, he's appeared on that podcast a few times, and you look at any comment section where he talks about anything, it's just the most vile insults and attacks you can imagine, right? And I guess that's to be expected, because that's the broader behavior of a lot of the internet, and PKA kind of has a more hyper-toxic community compared to the rest of the internet even. But it's interesting how once you've been designated a canceled individual, even in the broader part of the internet, nothing.
Well, I think he's gone to the point of like lol cow at this point. It's gone pretty. It's not really just canceled person. The guy's like a fucking lol cow at this point. It's like a meme.
Bad is off limits, right? Like the lowest of low blows, the lowest of low attacks are completely on the table. And the thing that's so funny to me is that one of the biggest things used to cancel Boogie was a clip where he was referring to his haters as being bad people. And now his haters are like celebrating and or accusing him of faking his cancer and being outright objectively bad people. And yet that clip of him calling his haters bad people went viral and ended up getting a lot of shit. I just think it's funny how, like, in the long run, he ended up being vindicated. And yet the thing that he did, that he's been vindicated for, is used as justification for the behavior that is vindicating his take. It's all cyclical, right? This is not uncommon. There are a lot of people on the internet who've been designated, you're bad. Everything bad that happens to you is justified. And yeah, fuck you, right? Nobody can do it. Like, nothing's off limits. And it's just funny to me that at the end of the day, the worst things...
I just feel like, listen, how many actual people are invalidating his cancer diagnosis? Like, is it actual people, or is it a bunch of dumb little Twitter fucks? I know he said, I blocked 200 people, but I also don't know if that's just if that's him being like accurate about the number. He might just be like inflaming that number a little bit. Like, is it? I don't know. I feel like, is it that much of an epidemic here? Yeah, is it that much?
Boogie has done is A, be a public figure that's overweight, and B, be a public figure that's overweight and left wing. Listen, being overweight alone isn't enough to get your shit on the internet. Obviously, like the quartering, for example, he's fine. But being overweight and openly left-leaning online, that will absolutely... You fall into a stereotype at that point that makes you, I guess, not a person anymore in the eyes of a lot of people online, and instead...
Boogie called his trolls worse than Nazis and rapists? No, he didn't. Wait a minute. Boogie calls... Is that real? You have to be lying to me. Is there anything that you can show?
I said no.
But we're gods.
Is that fucking real? Oh, I have to see it for myself.
I'm gonna stay online. I'm gonna.
Whoa, he's playing World of Warcraft. Instantaneous base. Holy fuck.
Alive as long as I can. I'm gonna waste as much of your time as you can. I'm gonna say as much shit and do as much shit as I can to keep your attention so you don't do it to somebody else.
What a martyr. Oh my god. I'm gonna do this stuff just so you pay attention to me and you don't go after other people. Okay. That's a little crazy.
I'm here for you to torture me and only me. I'm gonna make a living letting you torture me. I'm gonna be the next Dark Side Phil. I'm gonna be the next Wings of Redemption. I'm gonna spend every day online to keep you fucking busy so you don't do it to somebody else.
Nobody cared about
So bring it.
Alright.
But I want you to know, I think you are the lowest of the low. I think you are the worst of the worst. I think that there are fucking rapists and Nazis out there who, even though they are rapists and fucking Nazis, they are more redeemable than you because at least they're doing something they fucking believe in.
Oh, is this an attempt at humor? This is not good. Oh my god. Maybe if he was a little extra edgy, he might be able to get away with this. Maybe if he was Ethan Klein 2016, he'd be able to get away with this joke. I don't know if he's joking or not.
They may be pieces of garbage. They may be pieces of shit. They may harm other people, but at least they believe what they fucking stand for.
Holy shit. Wow, what a base take from Boogie, guys. Holy fuck. Hey, now at least Nazis believe this. Hey, at least that woman that was raped, at least that Nazi, at least probably is a Nazi. At least that rapist really believed in it. What the fuck? What is this? Dude, what? Dude, this is unhinged. This is fucking pure goblin. What the hell's happening? This is actual goblin mode. Yeah, maybe they believe in hating him.
You stand for nothing.
Oh my god.
You stand for nothing.
Personally, I'd rather have a boogie troll that stands for nothing than a fucking Nazi or a rapist that stands for killing Jews and rapists. I don't understand this thing. This is really dumb. Holy fuck.
Even a disgusting piece of shit rapist is better than you.
Wow.
Even a
I disagree, Boogie.
piece of shit racist garbage Nazi is better than you.
Okay.
You are the
disagree.
Oh yeah. This one.
Okay, Xander Hall was just saying, brother, my brother, that that didn't seem to be a particularly accurate representation of what he actually said. That was a little rough. Xander Hall seemed to downplay that a little bit. Just a smooch. Just a little swatch. What did he say he said?
be a public figure that's overweight and left-wing. I guess not a person anymore in the eyes of a lot of people online. Instead, some sort of archetypical stereotype that doesn't have a soul or feelings, and you don't need to feel any remorse or empathy towards. So it really is empathy, right? Empathy is a rare commodity online. It really, really is. And I think a large part of that is the average age of internet users. Internet users tend to skew pretty young. And if any of you watching me right now have recently been in high school or are in high school, how many of you can relate to the lack of empathy in people like that age? A lot of young people just principally do not believe that being good for goodness' sake.
Santa Claus. Oh, be good for goodness sake. Look at that, fucking Xander Hall dropping that casual phobia against Boogie by referencing Santa Claus. Oh my goodness. I couldn't even see it coming, dude.
Being a good person and doing things for the sake of making other people happy does not compute for them. Which is a large part of why edgy humor, of which, cruelty is essentially the drive, the fuel for it, tends to be popular among very young people, and outside of that, people who wish they were still young. Like, the kinds of people online right now that are...
I guess some people just enjoy edgy humor, too. I mean, it's not that deep, so I don't think it's always that deep. But...
saying Boogie's faking his cancer, I guarantee are the types of people that wish we were back in the belief...
Bro, it just doesn't seem like there's actual people saying that. Like, I'm sure somebody's saying that, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't seem to be like a collective of people truly saying that. It seems to be some people on Twitter. Those aren't people, as we all know. Those aren't real people. Those are fake people.
Tier age of YouTube. And they miss that age, and they can't let go of the 2016 YouTube era. And they're like, oh, but things were so much better back in the Leafy era. Oh, man, I missed that era. That was so good. Like, back when, every bit of content and all humor was based around abject cruelty and lack of empathy for others. I think that's basically the remnants of that tendency still marring the internet that's causing a lot of this. Do you guys understand what I'm talking about? Why I want to talk about this? Why this social network is important? The left seems very...
I'll be real about this. It seems... I don't think that Boogie's getting hated just because he's fat. I don't think it's just that. I think it's a little bit deeper than that. I feel like after you misrepresented the whole Nazi rapist clip, maybe you weren't the best person to speak on this particular topic, but that's just a theory. Twitter people, yeah, dogs, animals, fucking pickleheads. What do you think of that?
Unwilling to accept that a lot of young people, even though young people tend to skew progressive, young people also tend to skew edgy as fuck, and a lot of what they conceive as being edgy humor is a lack of empathy and care for others, and cruelty made humorous, right? Like, there's a difference between dark humor and, here's a video of a child. I'm pulling from a direct example from my edgelord phase when I would hang out in edgelord Discord communities. There was a video that I saw once that was just a child. Just a child falling onto a train track and getting run over.
Jesus Christ, that's horrible. Oh my god, that's not funny. It's just like, I wasn't expecting that. Oh my god. What did you... Holy shit. That's fucking horrible. Jesus Christ, dude. I keep seeing these videos on my TikTok feed of dogs getting killed by other dogs. It's fucked up. Obviously, babies aren't dogs, but just keep in mind.
I'm guessing Africa somewhere. That's cool for the environment and everything. That is the type of humor that 15, 16, 17-year-olds share around saying, look at this, look gore, look disgusting. They'll just the most horrific shit is all that they can glean humor from. And it's always the suffering of others, right? Many of you guys in chat are weirding right now and manga-essing, but if any of you have ever been exposed to the average when I was in high school, the average Discord server ran and operated by people my age back then, and I'm sure it's not gone away now. That was the type of shit you would see. Unless it was a definitively left-wing Discord, that's the kind of shit you see. Anyway, I think it all kind of rolls back to the same basic concepts of a lot of people on the internet are young, lacking in empathy. They haven't developed it yet. And those that are older tend to be emotionally stunted man-children who really, really miss the days of when the funniest content online was just bullying. Or remember when the most popular content on YouTube would be Leafy bullying a kid with autism. He ended up getting shit for that down the road, and it led to his downfall. But there was a time when, like, Leafy is here singling out neurodivergent people on the internet and just bullying them was the peak of internet commentary content. And that is what these same people fucking wish for. Oh, they miss it so much. Back when just bullying autistic kids on the internet was content you could monetize and make a living off of. Oh, they miss it so much. I
was never around.
You have no idea. Their heart yearns for it. Anyway, I think that's the type of mindset and the type of
the heart wants what the heart wants.
Type of hate. And I feel like the fact that hate has been so strongly directed towards Boogie in this case, and I'm going to be real. Right. Maybe there's plenty of reasons to criticize Boogie, but there are so many people so much worse and so much more famous, influential, wealthy, and larger than him that get literally no hate. Like,
I guess so, but I mean, isn't that what the debaters call whataboutism? You know what I mean? It's more of a sphere thing. He's in like a particular sphere. People fuck with him a lot. He could simply disconnect from the sphere. He doesn't. Like, I don't know what you want to tell you. Okay.
No criticism. And yet this guy gets almost nothing but criticism. When I hear Boogie mentioned, it's to hate on Boogie. Almost always. Outside of communities that are talking about him in a positive way, almost exclusively. Like, it really does feel as though there's a massive double standard for this guy.
I guess.
Just a fucking huge one.
I don't think so.
And, you know, it's just something I've noticed, and that's where I think it comes from. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like, subscribe, ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications so you get a note, so you know. YouTube tells you when I go live or upload a new video. You can also support me by following my social medias. I'll link down below in the description on pretty much every platform I stream or upload on. And of course, finally, if you want to support me financially, you got the money for it, and you don't need it for anything else, you can consider supporting me financially through my website, xanderhall.com/.
Give me your money, even if you need it.
YouTube, Twitch,
That's what I was saying.
Elements, or Patreon. But as always, regardless of how you support me, I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.
Alright, that was interesting. Gonna have to give a little bit of a disagreement there. Gonna have to give a little bit of a hard disagreement to some of the shit he was saying there. I don't think Boogie gets like a magical, disproportionate like amount of fucking hate. I mean, maybe he does. I don't know. I don't think that. It kind of made it seem like Boogie was a little bit of a victim here. Feels a little, I don't know if it's particularly accurate.
Check this out.
That's all I'm trying to say.
Excited to spend some hack silver, aren't we?
But okay. Say less, Queen. Say less. I don't feel like going for these. I said, hey, hi, hello. I don't think he said manga.